We're live.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. May peace be upon you. Welcome to the Daily Dose COVID Conversations with CAIR. I'm your host, Edward Ahmed Mitchell, Deputy Director of CAIR National. As we reach these final days of Ramadan, I hope all of you are staying safe, doing well. May Allah grant you a successful, accepted month of worship. We begin this program as always with the name of God. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. And we also want to begin by extending our condolences to everyone who's been impacted by the tragic plane crash that occurred in Karachi, Pakistan earlier today. May God grant the highest rank of paradise to those Muslims who were killed as they were preparing to celebrate Eid, comfort their families, protect the first responders, and guide all of us to make good use of the time that He gives us. We are thinking about everyone impacted. We're praying for you. May Allah grant mercy to all those impacted by this here and abroad. And next, I want to note that we're going to have a special program today, inshallah. We're going to be highlighting how even though this Ramadan was difficult in so many ways because of COVID-19, being disconnected from the masajid, all the things that were happening in the news, the horrible things, but these incidents were opportunities for us to respond by getting closer to God, by doing good work, by helping our neighbors in unique ways. And so we want to discuss that. How did this Ramadan go for the Muslim community, for CAIR, and where do we go from here? You're going to hear from some of the key people behind CAIR, hear about the work they've done this month, hear about the work they're planning to do, inshallah, and how you can help support that work. But first, we want to welcome our National Executive Director, Brother Nihad Awad, who's going to join us for the first part of our segment today. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nihad. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Edward. Good, how are you?
Hamza, doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. Brother Nihad, I want to start with that first question. You've been through so many things over the past 25 years with CAIR. I mean, so many crises, so many incidents, so many good times, so many difficult times, maybe nothing like the COVID-19 pandemic and how it's impacted people around the world. You've been very tuned into what's been happening with the Muslim community across America during this crisis. Looking back, what are your thoughts on how we've responded, how we've met the moment, the good that's happened, the difficulty, as we end Ramadan? Just share some thoughts with us, some observations from someone who's been through many things before. What are your thoughts on how we're dealing with this crisis?
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. First of all, I would like to join you, Brother Edward, in praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless the souls of those who perished in the Pakistani airline crash today, and also pray for the injured ones and for the loved ones. We offer our sincere condolences to those families and those who have been impacted by this tragedy. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to comfort them and bring peace and mercy to all of them. And we pray for them. I was really disheartened when I saw the news today. And we at CAIR expressed our thoughts and prayers with the communities over there. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with them at this very difficult time. So to your question, the Muslim community here is no different than other communities in the United States and other human family who have been impacted by this pandemic. And let me also share with you that alhamdulillah, the community responded wisely and greatly to this pandemic, where immediately they responded by closing down the mosques for the safety of people, because we did not see any contradiction between science and the importance of preserving the life of people. And we immediately took actions as Muslims, and we established social distancing. And even us at CAIR, whether the national office or offices nationwide, we immediately switched to teleworking for the safety of our staff to continue to help the American Muslim community in their needs, especially in the civil rights need and advocacy and organizing. Alhamdulillah, as far as CAIR, we have created a website called CAIR Newsroom, And that is a platform to talk about COVID-19, the statistics, the Muslim community's issues. And you can see here the website. This was, mashallah, with our experts, immediately became a known website for the community as a resource to look at it and to get some ideas, but also to showcase the importance of the American Muslim community's work. And also the very fact that we are on the Daily Dose daily show, which we are on now, it shows that CAIR created a platform for the Muslim community to hear views, to get guidance, interpretations of the policies, to bring social experts, spiritual experts, medical experts to explain to the community what they need to know about COVID-19. So, Alhamdulillah, CAIR, as always, responds to these crises with proactive initiatives and solutions that are practical for the community. Now, on the bigger level, I said at the beginning of the program and at the beginning of Ramadan that inshallah, I was personally intending to have the best Ramadan in my life. And Alhamdulillah, I would like to report personally that I really had the best Ramadan in my life. And let me tell you why. I spend most of my time with my family, something that those who know me know that I always travel. So it was a great opportunity for me to stay home, to help my wife, do some cooking. And I think she started to, rate better my cooking and helping around the house. It's important, to strengthen our social ties with our family, although we are physically distant, but we continue to be socially and spiritually connected. I pray Taraweeh every night with my family, and we read Quran together, we prayed together. So I would say, Alhamdulillah, in fact, the fact that mosques doors have been closed to worshiping, but all our houses became mosques and we all became imams and we got even better training and better in what we do. However, the mosques did not close their doors to people who are in need. In fact, the Muslim community excelled in community service. We have 3,000 mosques. They open their doors to volunteers to cook and prepare meals, to send them and give them away to their neighbors, to police stations, to firefighters, to healthcare professionals, to first responders, to essential workers. And this is very impressive. In my estimate, every given mosque in America has prepared and distributed from 300 to 500 meals a day throughout the month. And actually per day, the Muslim community throughout the states contributed and gave away almost 1 million meals a day to people who are in need. That was the spirit of Islam, the spirit of Ramadan, the spirit of the Muslim community. There's the spirit of community, neighborhood, and empathy and sympathy. And that's really the meaning of Ramadan. Whether you are rich or poor, powerful or weak, you have to fast and you have also to feel with other people. So I'm proud to see that the Muslim community has done an excellent work in this area. Totally, in my estimate, the Muslim community has processed and distributed over 20 million meals during the month of Ramadan. My hats off to the Muslim community, even in the DMV area, in the Washington area. As we speak, there are people who drive by these mosques and pick up hot meal prepared by the Muslim community. We haven't spoken about the 30,000 some medical doctors and nurses and first responders in the Muslim community who put their lives on the line to save others in the emergency rooms, in hospitals, in clinics. And that to me really shows the mercy of Islam in this country. Secondly, the Muslim community was well served through CARE in conjunction and in working with national media like CNN, PBS, Associated Press, USA Today. These networks sought CARE's help and to get views on Islam and Muslims. And you can see here, mashallah, this is like a collage of the spokespeople of CARE that usually appear on national television. But more than that, the Muslim community was well served throughout the month because CARE worked with the national media to focus on the Muslim community services locally. And that's why you see so many positive stories about American Muslims contributing to the well-being of the society. So overall, what CARE has done this year is what CARE has been doing all over the years. Millions of Americans and around the world, millions of people will always see a clear, concise, correct message about Islam and Muslims through CARE spokesmanship and CARE's press statements that we distribute to thousands of media outlets. And there is no organization in the world like CARE. So Alhamdulillah, I'm very proud and humbled that we lead this organization, and the Muslim community should really be very proud of having the services, professional services of CARE to portray correctly the image of Islam and the Muslim community throughout the nation, throughout the states and globally. So, for example, one quote by the Associated Press about CARE travels around the world and gets quoted in hundreds of thousands of publications and media outlets. And CARE gets quoted on behalf of Muslims hundreds of times every year, if not thousands of times. And you can imagine the tens of millions of people who get this accurate information through the platform of CARE. So eventually, and finally, I would say, I'm so grateful for the support of the Muslim community who enabled CARE to continue to do this work. And we told the community that we need funds to continue to do our work. Alhamdulillah, the community has responded. Although we are short of our campaign goal during the month of Ramadan of about $250,000, I hope that those who are watching will dip into their pockets and take advantage of the blessed day of Jum'ah in the last week of Ramadan, in the last month of Ramadan, and do an act of charity, sadaqah, or offer zakah for CARE, because CARE qualifies for these contributions. So thank you so much, Brother Edward, and the CARE team at national and nationwide for helping the Muslim community and stay, mashallah, on the top of this business.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Brother Nihad. And thank you, yes, to everyone who's donated, supported CARE, made dua for us over the course of this month. Please continue to do so in these final days of Ramadan, inshallah. And I'm glad, Brother Nihad, you mentioned the other members of the CARE family, because that's an excellent segue. We've got several members of the CARE family ready to share with us their thoughts on how Ramadan went for their departments, the work they did, and what is next to come. Once Ramadan ends, the work continues. We're still dealing with the crisis. We're still dealing with anti-Muslim bigotry. There's so much work to be done. So we want to kind of get a taste of the coming year from them, inshallah. And I want to start by bringing on CARE National Staff Attorney Zaina Galawanji and Brother Nihad and I. Maybe you can stay on for a minute just to talk to Zaina, and then we'll let you go. I know you've got meetings. Assalamu alaikum, Zaina. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. How are you doing, Brother Edward?
Alhamdulillah, we're doing so well. So Brother Nihad was just mentioning, some of the work that CARE has done over the past month, and more importantly, I think the work the Muslim community has done over the past month to help people trying to make it through the COVID-19 crisis. The legal department, which you're here representing today, has been, even though you all can't physically go to court in many cases, I know you just had a court hearing via Zoom earlier today. I know you all are filing briefs, lawsuits, legal action. Can you just give us a little taste of what this month has been like for the legal department? What are the main things that you all have been working on, that you've accomplished with the support of the community?
Yeah, so actually, for some reason, every Ramadan, our work tends to increase, and we always feel slightly overwhelmed during Ramadan, but it's a good thing, alhamdulillah. We actually had a lot of work. We were working on our current lawsuits. We were filing motions and briefs, and of course, as you mentioned, attended hearings. We were filing new complaints. So even though it was Ramadan, and even though, we're facing a pandemic, there's still discrimination going on. And so we were receiving new cases from members of the community requesting assistance, with various matters, including, employment discrimination. We actually did receive complaints regarding FBI interrogations during the pandemic. So we were working on everything and anything during the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, we have a lot going on still.
Alhamdulillah, that's wonderful, Zaina. Brother Nihad, anything you want to ask Zaina before we let you go?
I would like to thank Zaina and her team at the Civil Rights Department. They are at the front line of defending the civil rights of Muslims 24/7. I know that they are working on filing some cases. They told me that we have about over 100 active lawsuits in courts, and these lawsuits are designed to help American Muslims to regain their employment, so protect their jobs. Uh, and you can imagine that every effort that they do in the civil rights department, they help so many people, so many families, especially during this pandemic. Some of these cases are older, and but they take so much time. So, and I was also told that we receive between 200 to 250 cases every month. You can imagine how much time these cases require investigation, going through them, interviewing the complainants, go through their cases, and moving them up the chain if there is validity to take the case. And CAIR offers free services, free legal services to our clients. Not of course, not every case gets accepted because we try to do our due diligence and be upright and defend those who deserve to be defended and the representation. So this process is very tedious and very comprehensive, very thorough, and very considerate. I was shown also that our Civil Rights Department is designing or redesigning the database to improve our work, the process of intake and decision making. And that database will be provided to our offices nationwide to raise the profile and performance of the intake process, to help community to file their cases, and to allow also our staff, attorneys, paralegals, to optimize the use of their time. So the Muslim community is really well served by the presence of these attorneys at the national office and nationwide. And our attorneys are fearless when they pick up a case, when they fight on the behalf of their clients. They don't have any political consideration, whether it's a government agency, a big corporation, a big entity. Where is their justice? We pursue justice on behalf of the Muslim community. So I appreciate Zaina's work and her colleagues, and they know I'm a big fan of them, mashallah.
Yes.
So, but also they need help. We cannot continue to do our work unless the Muslim community recognizes more and more the need to support the fighters who are fighting on your behalf every day in the schools, in the workplace, in the public arena. And that professional work needs to be supported throughout the year, not only during the month of Ramadan.
Absolutely. And if you want to support some of that work, you can literally right now, you can text My Rights to 41444 or go to cair.com/donate to support the work of our legal department and the other great departments working within CAIR. Brother Nihad?
Probably, I would suggest for Zaina, if there's like a particular case that she's working on, and she can just share with us, because behind every case, there is a human face, there is a family. There are people who are suffering and people who are looking up to the professional expertise of CAIR to represent them well and to defend their rights. And if she can, I'm sure she has full of full menu of stories and cases. But probably one or two cases that she's working on could be of interest to the viewers to see what kind of cases CAIR is dealing with. And
Yeah,
I'll sign off, inshallah.
absolutely. I'll share, a couple of the cases that I'm particularly excited about. We do have a case, inshallah, that we intend to file on behalf of, Muslim women who were terminated from their jobs because they chose to wear hijabs at work. Their employer told them that they would either have to choose between their jobs or choose between their religion, and all of the women chose to stick by their faith, and as a result they were terminated from their jobs. And so that's something that we're very excited about, the opportunity to represent members of the community who stood strong by their faith, and as a result of that, they suffered the loss of their jobs, the ability to support their families. So I'm very excited to stand by these strong women. We have a few other cases in the pipeline as well regarding similar issues of individuals who were terminated from their jobs because they stood by their faith. We do have um, a very important case that we're filing on behalf of, a young Muslim boy who was subjected to severe bullying at his school. That's a case that's very near and dear to our hearts. We've gotten the opportunity to know the family and to learn more about the son that was subjected to just horrible, horrible bullying at school. And we're very, we're very appreciative of the fact that the family chose us to represent them. So those are some of the things that we're working on right now. That is only a snapshot. I could go on and on and on about what we're working on, but I don't think that I have the time.
Yes, we've got Hamza. We've got some other great information we want to share and get some other Ramadan thoughts. But we appreciate you for highlighting those cases, Zain, and just a few of the things you all are working on. May Allah grant you success, grant you guidance, success in all endeavors, especially these cases. Thank you so much for joining us. Give our regards to the rest of the legal team, and inshallah, we will see you hopefully after Eid, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So now we want to welcome on our next two guests. Robert McCaw, the Government Affairs Director of CAIR National, and Dr. Abbas Barghazar, the Director of our Research and Advocacy Department. Let's bring on Abbas and Robert. Assalamu alaikum, Robert. How are you? Now, I'm getting good at reading lips because I've been on Zoom for a while. Robert said, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what else after that. So Robert, go again. Assalamu alaikum,
I
Robert.
said Eid Eve.
Eid Eve, mashallah. There we go. See, I wouldn't have guessed that. Okay, alhamdulillah. Dr. Abbas, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing, sir?
Alhamdulillah, no complaints, no complaints. Alhamdulillah. So thank you both for joining us. As I mentioned, Robert's head of our Government Affairs Department, Dr. Abbas, head of our Research and Advocacy Department. So, guys, we've been discussing two things. What has Ramadan been like for you and for your work? How did Ramadan change your work? What kind of work have you had to do? What have you seen from the Muslim community in interacting with them over the past month? Just what do you want to share? Just some thoughts that people need to take away from this moment in history. I mean, if someone's watching this years from now, wants to know what this was like, what you were doing, what CAIR was doing, and how our work changed during this month. What do you want to share with the people? And then I want to just hear briefly, what's next for the Muslim community vis-a-vis your work. Dr. Abbas, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure thing. It was very interesting because this semester we had gotten started on a second round of pilot studies for understanding school bullying in Muslim bullying and bias activity that Muslim students suffer in public schools. And so we had run some experiments and some surveys locally in the DMV area last year, but this spring we brought on a proper fellow and had a research initiative set up so that we would be actually gathering data in 5 different sites across the country, mostly along the eastern seaboard. And so we got started on this. Things were moving well. We had redeveloped the survey, done the training, recruited the teams that we needed to, built out the infrastructure. And as soon as we started getting ready to implement the project, it was quarantine time. Right. And so it really threw a major wrench in our ability to gather that data. But thankfully, the versatility of the community, as well as the sort of dedication of both CAIR staff, as well as our community counterparts, we were able to adapt the survey to an online format and then start creating online environments so that we would be able to address students directly, almost as if it was a classroom. And so this was met with variable levels of success. So in some states, we were able to get great positive feedback and still get some data in. In other states, it was a little bit more difficult. So that was one of the major challenges that we faced, but it was interesting working through that and working with community through that. That's one major example.
Yeah, and I think, even in the last segment, Zaina was talking about this issue of school bullying, how kids are impacted in school. And that is so critical to the work CAIR does, because that is the next generation, right? We can win all the nice lawsuits we want right now for adults and, win all these victories in the court of law and the court of public opinion. But if you got a generation of Muslims growing up feeling ostracized, targeted, afraid to be Muslim, afraid to be publicly Muslim, then, we've won the battle and lost the war, so to speak. So this
absolutely. Actually, if you give me a second, I'd like to share a screen real quick, if you don't mind.
Please.
I'd like to share something. Let me see if I can pull this up. This is does everybody see this screen that
Yeah.
says bullying and bias addressing Islamophobia in public schools?
Yeah.
So Edward, you yourself will remember this. Obviously, most people think about bias and bullying. They think about kids getting bullied at school. But
Right.
you remember you had a case in Georgia not too long ago when you were the ED down in Georgia
Yeah.
of a situation where it was actually the school administration that botched it. It was the
Right.
school administration that got it completely wrong. And the alienation that the student felt and the family felt wasn't from peers, but from the institution itself. So what we're doing in our approach to dealing with this issue is we have really come through and developed a three-part sort of overall approach to the way that this problem is dealt with. One is peer-to-peer youth sort of aggression. That's bullying behavior that you know. The other is teacher ignorance. Effectively, teachers have been the ones who perpetuate stereotypes and make
Right.
students feel uncomfortable, and even sometimes create policies or situations that, you know, whether they're aware of it or not, they do some
Incredibly
disastrous.
dangerous to have that authority figure, being the one,
Absolutely.
and that happens quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
uncommon.
yeah, and the most common thing is, oh, we're going to talk about 9/11 today. Ahmed, could you please stand up and tell me how you feel? Do you know what I mean? It's like absolutely the worst thing that you could do to a kid. The kid's like in fourth grade or something, you know? And so they don't know anything about this historical incident at that
Yeah.
time. So then the third piece is really the most dangerous and insidious and the most difficult part to get over, and that is addressing Islamophobia in public textbooks. And so public education textbooks. So thankfully, we have partnered with literally the best of the best in the country on this subject matter. We work with faculty and graduate students at Georgetown University to develop training workshops to address social studies teachers, cultural diversity teachers, and history teachers so that they can teach the content that relates to Islam properly and appropriately with an eye towards what we would call sort of hidden bias or bigotry or blind bias, you know, things that they may not be aware of, but that are explicitly incorrect or bias. We train them to flag those things and also provide them with materials to teach that material in a better way, right? So we actually do a lot of teacher training. So it's a quite extensive sort of approach. And I'll say that the work doesn't come easy. It requires professional input and it requires professional, serious institutional resources. So for anybody that has the capability to think about this and investing in this future of ours, let us go ahead and please do.
Absolutely. And again, if you want to support the great work that Dr. Abbas is doing addressing the issue of school bullying and the other great work happening in CAIR, you can go to cair.com/donate, or you can text on your phone, my rights, 2 words to combine, my rights, to 41444. That's 41444. Robert, let's bring you in. Assalamu alaikum, Robert, Government Affairs Director. So, some people might say, well, look, Congress is somewhat shut down. What is there to be done? What could be happening right now? And the answer is a lot. Can you tell us about tell us what's going on for you in this past month, government affairs, and the work you've been doing?
Well, in the past month, it's been a combination of campaigns where we're promoting and elevating positive issues of the American Muslim community. And then we are also fighting back against Islamophobes and just bad policies. So I'll start with the good news.
Yes.
The good news is earlier this month, we worked with Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman, and we introduced a resolution celebrating the beginning of the month of Ramadan. We had over 20 members of Congress on that resolution. And it's just a good way where in the halls of Congress, we can have Ramadan recognized, we can elevate what Muslims are celebrating, and we can just reinforce that this is a part of American society. It's part of our fabric and it's something to be celebrated. Just today, CAIR welcomed a resolution introduced by Representative Debbie Dingell, and that is marking the end of Ramadan and also the celebration of Eid, not only for Muslims in America, but across the globe. So, 2 very positive resolutions with a very positive message that CAIR was really proud to work with these 2 offices to get the word out about just what Muslims are doing this Ramadan. But, our advocacy work, it never ends. We have had a long line of successes in fighting back against Trump administration nominees. to different federal agencies. Right now, the Trump administration is going to nominate former General Anthony Tata to be the policy secretary for the Pentagon. That's the third highest ranked position in the Pentagon. And he is an anti-Muslim bigot. He's the type of guy that says we need to institute the Muslim ban into all aspects of American immigration policy and the policy of Western countries. He really views Islam and Muslims as the enemy America. He has no right to be serving again in the Pentagon. And so CAIR's already started doing a public affairs campaign where we're reaching out to the media. We're doing our own authentic research. We've dug some dirt on him. We've found some really negative things he's written in his own novels about Muslims that wasn't being discussed in the media. And just last week, some of the CAIR's research was published in Foreign Affairs, which is a very well-respected magazine in DC. We're very sure the Armed Service Committee staff is going to be reading it. We're going to keep on pushing against this bad nominee.
And Robert, what's sad is that this is just the latest in a series of, anti-Muslim bigots have been appointed, or who the government has tried to appoint to top positions. And you just think, can you imagine someone appointing to a senior government post someone who said things like this about the Jewish community or the Christian community, or, would just obviously be unheard of. But Islamophobia is sadly, some people have said, the last form of socially acceptable public bigotry. And so your work, to expose these nominees and to say, this is not okay. You don't get a free pass on bigotry just because Muslims are the victims. And you've had success in stopping exposing the bigotry of other nominees and getting those nominations back. Can you share a few of those?
Yeah, there was a previous nominee 2 years ago. His name was Mark Green. He's actually a congressman from Tennessee right now. But when he was in the state house of Tennessee, he would make statements like children in Tennessee should not be learning about Islam. He would refer to Muslims as a horde. Just not really great on the issues of Muslim community relations.
Well, anyone who calls us a horde, probably not. It sounds like something out of the Lord of the Rings or something.
No, but Trump was trying to elevate him to be Secretary of the Army, which is the highest civilian position in the Army underneath Trump.
And by the way, there have been and are numerous American Muslims who serve in the United States military, so they'd be answering to following someone who is a bigot, an open anti-Muslim bigot.
And so this is just one example of where, CAIR kept on beating the drum on Green, and he never made it through the nomination phase. And again, there is currently an employee in the State Department. Her name is Heather North, but Trump tried nominating her to be the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
Is this the Fox News host, or is this someone else?
Former Fox News host would have programs where she would have the anti-Muslim hate group leaders on programs about Muslim Americans, like those are the experts we should be listening to. Or she would oppose women's only hours at YMCA's if there were too many Muslims there. So just not the best face for America at the United Nations. I hear there might be some Muslim countries there. Luckily, CAIR, we continue to push back against her. And anytime they ever talked about Mark Green in the media, anytime they talked about Heather North, they had to mention CAIR's research on these two individuals. And in combination with a lot of other boneheaded decisions they made, their nominations failed. And so we're going to put the same effort on Tata that we put on these other nominees. And hopefully he's not going to make it through the process. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm also ramping up operations because in 2 weeks from now, we're launching Muslims.vote. Because of the coronavirus epidemic, we're adding one more section on how to vote by mail, where we'll have all 50 states listed in their vote by mail deadlines and what qualifies you. So we're just rejiggering our new election website. We're going to launch it. That's going to be Muslims.vote. And we're excited for that too. So a little wag of the finger and a little good news too.
I'm done. That's great. That's wonderful. So again, that's the work that's being done. That is the work that needs to be done. And we do this with the community support. So again, if you want to support the work that is being done to mobilize voters, to make sure we're exercising our rights, to make sure that anti-Muslim bigots are not occupying even more government positions in which they can wreak havoc on people here and abroad, support our work, inshallah. You can donate by texting My Rights to 41444 or going to CAIR.com/donate. Robert, Dr. Abbas, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful end of Ramadan. May Allah grant you a wonderful end of Ramadan, and we'll see you after Eid, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. And finally, our final guest we're going to bring on today, our communications director, Ibrahim Hooper, and our communications coordinator and Daily Dose producer, Ayan Ajeen. Assalamu alaikum. Ayan, how are you?
I'm muted. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Yes.
Where's your partner in crime?
I'm bringing him on right now.
Okay, he's coming on. All right, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Ibrahim. How are you? Make sure you're unmuted, Ibrahim.
I am unmuted, I believe.
Okay, we can hear you now. Alhamdulillah. Welcome to the Daily Dose. It's a pleasure to have you on, Brother Ibrahim. Everyone knows Brother Ibrahim has been, a key figure behind CAIR for 25 years, leading our efforts to counter bigotry, build connections with the media, and do so many other important things that allow Muslims to engage in advocacy in the court of public opinion. You don't just win cases in the court of law. It also takes victories in the court of public opinion. That takes the ability to connect with the media, to speak effectively to the media, to train a new generation of Muslims to engage with the media. And Ibrahim has been leading the effort to do that. So we appreciate it.
It's interesting. As I was waiting to come on here, I'm finishing off several different news releases that we're sending out about Ramadan. I'm also dealing with major media outlets that are contacting us about the president's statement now that he wants to, force mosques to be open somehow in America, despite what American Muslim community leaders and scholars are saying, or he's planning to override the governors with houses of worship. So, just as we're doing this program, people can get an understanding of what kind of work we do, working with the media, producing statements, being a voice for the mainstream American Muslim community to media professionals. So it's all ongoing as we speak.
Absolutely. We're doing two things at once all the time. We're strengthening the community in a forward-looking way, right? By doing all the things you just noted, by training the next generation leaders, by engaging the media, but we're also putting out fires that endanger the Muslim community that can break out anytime unexpectedly. In this case, we have a weird situation where President Trump is doing the opposite of what you would think he would do. He's forcing houses of worship to be at risk of being open and thereby endangering Muslims. That's kind of a unique problem for us to have.
If you watch the video of him talking today, he almost choked on the word mosque, before he could get it out. The
irony. All right. So let's talk. Ramadan has been obviously this Ramadan perhaps has been like nothing any of us have experienced before. Ibrahim, you and Ihad have been through so much, since the founding of CAIR, from the Oklahoma City bombing and the anti-Arab bigotry that followed that, even though Arabs had nothing to do with it. 9/11, the Iraq War, all these things that have happened that created just widespread havoc and chaos and difficulty. And now we have this pandemic that's impacted the Muslim community in unique ways. What has this been like over the past month? What are the major things that the communications department has been tackling? How did this change your work? What should the people know about, what you were able to accomplish and do with their support over the past month?
Well, I think one thing that we really emphasized was reaching out to express solidarity to the Asian American community that's being targeted, much as the Muslim community and the Arab American community had been targeted in the past. Asian Americans are really taking it on the chin now with this whole pandemic thing. And that's why we're trying to issue statements in solidarity. Also, other minority groups, Sister Ayan can talk about all the statements we have to crank out on a daily basis, there with the racist and white supremacist and bigoted things that are increasing, not only under President Trump, but during this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Ayan, let's bring you in. You've been the communications coordinator with CAIR for I think over a year now. You've seen so much perhaps you did not expect in that short amount of time. What has this month been like for you? What are some of the major things that you were focusing on this month? I know CAIR Newsroom, Daily Dose. Can you tell us about some of the major things that happened for you?
Yeah, obviously no one expected that we'd be in this situation, but we've really been working on adapting so we can, because our main mission as the communications department is keeping the community connected and informed. So to adapt to that in our current situation, we have been doing the daily dose. So every day we bring guests on, either medical professionals or community advocates or people from the community who have put on programs for like mosque leaders, you know, to help the community in this time. And we're giving these people a platform for themselves, and also giving the community, the Muslim community, the information that they need to like keep updated on what's happening with the current pandemic. So that's
And
one.
that happens every day, by the way. You're hosting every day of the week. You've been hosting this program. That is no small feat. Every day to be bringing on new guests, new discussions, Monday through Friday, middle of the day, and at night before Ramadan started. So Hamza, that's something that you all have been able to launch. We launched very quickly, and you, Ayan, have been taking the lead on, Hamza. So we really appreciate that. Tell us more. What else?
And alhamdulillah, how you said every day, we are sitting on so much information right now from all of the past speakers that we've had. There is, if you go through our Facebook page and just like scroll through the videos, you'll see for the past almost 2 months now, every single day having a speaker come on to talk about something that has to do with the pandemic, or how spiritual speakers to talk about how we can get through it, and like give us motivation for. And Ramadan brought that big switch too, right? Like it was the shift in Ramadan to keep people like Ramadan motivation. We also
variety, and to highlight the variety of issues that have arisen. You know, again, acting as a platform, not just for CAIR stuff, but for all the things that are relevant to the Muslim community.
As well as
remember, as other speakers were saying, none of this is cheap or free. We have to expend resources for all of these kinds of things, whether it's working with the media, whether it's the programming, the initiatives, all the things we do each year and every year for almost 26 years now. So that's why you should take advantage of this perhaps last day of Ramadan, or the second to the last day of Ramadan. As we all know, any good deeds you do during Ramadan are multiplied many, many times. So now's your chance. Go to CAIR.com, click on the donate button, click on the zakat calculator, and make a donation. Even if you've donated in the past, this Ramadan, donate again, because you know the need is growing every year.
And Ayan, finally, tell us more about, you know, what we've been doing with the support from the community during Ramadan. You talked about the daily dose. What are the other major projects?
We also launched CAIR Newsroom. So it's kind of like, I like to think of it as the text version of the daily dose. So we have the daily dose where we bring on speakers to talk about issues, and then we have CAIR Newsroom where it's like news articles that we have compiled of either CAIR staff has written, or we've reached out to experts to write and keep the community connected. But it's really like I think of it as the text version of what we do on here. I also want to, because we're talking about Ramadan Wrap Up and everything's coming to an end, we're looking forward to Eid, inshallah. And we are doing, we haven't launched it yet, but inshallah by today or early tomorrow, you can check our social media for a CAIR Eid giveaway. So we're gonna have a little, like a fun thing where you can post a picture and tag us, and you'll be entered for a giveaway, inshallah. So keep a lookout on our social media for that.
Absolutely, yes. We do fun things at CAIR too, alhamdulillah. It's not all seriousness, and yes, we also have fun. So this will be a great opportunity, inshallah, to celebrate Eid, even though we're all apart from each other. Let's celebrate together, inshallah, do a little Eid giveaway. And we're also launching a campaign in which we're encouraging American Muslims to show what you're grateful for on Eid using the hashtag quarantined, like the word quarantine, but EID, you get it. And so use that hashtag, inshallah, tag CAIR National. We're going to try to put together some of the best photos around the country that highlight, you know, what are people grateful for? What are the unique ways that people are celebrating Eid? Maybe you've decorated like a masala within your house. I know maybe you're doing like a Zoom lunch on the day of Eid with your community members. I know we're doing that at my local mosque. You know, whatever unique thing you're doing to celebrate Eid, take a photo, do a video, send it to us, inshallah, tag quarantined or tag CAIR National. We'll try to compile all that and share that. Even though we are physically apart, we don't have to be socially apart. They should really call it physical distancing, not social distancing. We can still stay connected and celebrate Eid together, inshallah. So look, it's 3:48, inshallah. We're a little over time, but we wanted to just take a moment to highlight the great work that you, Ayan, Ibrahim, Robert, Abbas, and so many of our other staff members, Zaina, the legal department, are doing with your support. We're not doing this on our own. We're doing it by the will and permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your support plays a major role in that. So thank you to everyone who's donated to CAIR over the past month. Thank you for your donations to so many other organizations doing great work during this month of Ramadan, including our CAIR chapters. Please continue to support us in these final days of Ramadan. Push hard, help us reach our fundraising goal. We have not hit it yet, and inshallah, we need to hit it so we can keep doing our work and doing it completely. COVID-19 has hit everyone, economically. It's hit our country economically, but inshallah, Allah has unlimited resources. So may Allah guide you to give, and may Allah replace what you give in His cause. Ibrahim, thank you so much. Ayan, thank you so much. And all of you, thank you for watching. We will be back on the air next Wednesday, inshallah. Please enjoy your holiday on Eid, and then of course enjoy Memorial Day on Monday, time with your family and remembrance. And then on Tuesday, we will take a day off from the Daily Dose. So the next show will be next Wednesday, inshallah. The Daily Dose will return, inshallah. Please send us any topics you want us to address, and we look forward to seeing you all after Eid. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, and an early Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.